Well, hello there everybody. Today we're going to make one of my favorite recipes. I guess they're all my favorite recipes, but we're going to make a hash brown casserole. Now, some people call these funeral potatoes, and I have fond memories of this casserole from when I was a young girl. And I'll tell you the story as we go along, but I want to take you through the ingredients right now. Now, this recipe is loaded with carbs. So if you're counting your carbs, this is not the recipe for you. But if you need a little comfort food, or you need a good potluck dish, or a side dish for Thanksgiving, or another holiday dinner or party, or even a holiday brunch or breakfast, this is the dish for you. No matter who you're making it for, it's a hit with everyone. It's just really, really, really delicious. So let's go through the ingredients real quick. The first thing you need is 30 ounces of frozen hash browns that are thawed. Okay, you want them to be mostly thawed. They can still be a little bit frozen, but they need to be stirrable, basically. Then you're going to need a half a cup or 1 stick of salted butter, and you want to melt it. Then you're going to need a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. Then we're also going to be adding in a half a cup of yellow onion minced up, and then 1 can, which is about 10.5 ounces of cream of chicken soup, 2 cups or a pint of sour cream, and then 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. And I've got my cheese already ready to go. And then for the topping, because this one has kind of a crunchy topping, we're going to use 2 cups of corn flakes, and we're going to slightly crush them up. That's why I have them in the Ziploc bag. And then we're going to melt some more butter, about 4 tablespoons or a 1/4 cup of salted butter. We're going to melt that up and mix it with the corn flakes and sprinkle it on top. So, all right, let's get started making this recipe. We've got 30 ounces of hash browns in our bowl. Next, we're going to add half a cup of salted butter, and it's been melted in the microwave. This is basically a throw it all in, mix it up, and then put it in your baking dish recipe. I love this type of recipe because it's so easy. Alright, then we're going to add a teaspoon of salt and then half a teaspoon of pepper. And then we're going to go ahead and add our half a cup of yellow onion, and it's been minced up. If you want it a little bit bigger, you can just chop it in bigger chunks, but I don't know, I just really like it minced. I like the smaller crunch to my casserole. Then we're going to add in our 10.5 ounces or 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Now I forgot to mention our oven has been preheated to 350. So you want to make sure you do that before you start mixing. Now we're going to add our 2 cups of sour cream. Then we're going to add in our shredded cheddar cheese. 2 cups of cheddar. Now I like to use extra sharp cheddar, but you can also just use sharp or mild or medium, whichever is your preference. Then we're just going to take a big spoon and mix it all up. Now I said that I sort of had a story around this recipe. It's not, I don't know if it's really a story. I just remember this being one of my favorite, very favorite potluck dishes. I attended a little country church when I was growing up, and someone in that church, I still don't know who it was to this day, but every single potluck we had, they made this casserole. And it was always one of my favorites because it was so good. It had so much flavor, and I always helped myself to seconds of it. I don't think there was ever anything left of that casserole. Make sure you get all that cheese mixed. Extra sharp cheese can tend to clump together, so you just want to make sure that you have that all mixed in good. Then you're just going to take that mixture. Now I've greased my baking dish, and it's a 9x13. And you're just going to take that mixture and spread it out in that baking dish. Okay, just spread it all out in your dish. Now I said that I love this casserole, but there is one ingredient that I cannot have, and it's because it has gluten, corn flakes. If you want to make this gluten-free, because it will not be gluten-free, there's other ingredients besides the corn flakes. Cream of chicken soup has wheat in it, and sometimes hash browns can have a coating on them, so just be careful what ingredients you use if you want to make this gluten-free. You can find gluten-free cream of chicken at Walmart. The hash browns I get are Ore-Ida, and they're gluten-free. Now the corn flakes, I have not found a gluten-free corn flake yet. There probably is one out there, I just haven't found it. So if you are trying to make this completely gluten-free, you'd probably want to leave the corn flakes completely off of it. You don't have to have them for it to be delicious. They just add a crunch. They add a little bit extra flavor and crunch to the casserole, but it'd be totally fine without them if you want to make it gluten-free. Let's get our corn flakes ready now. I said that I had them in a plastic baggie. So you can take a rolling pin, or you can even take your fist and just kind of bust them up. And you want them slightly crushed. You don't want them completely pulverized, but just slightly crushed so you have smaller flakes sprinkling onto your casserole. So let's get that done, and then we can put it in the oven and cook it. I'm just going to use my fist this time. A lot of times I'll use a rolling pin, but just going to bust them up. If you need to, flip them over and do the other side. And again, they don't have to be completely crushed. This is actually pretty perfect. We're going to take these corn flakes, put them in a small mixing bowl, and then I've got 4 tablespoons of butter, salted butter, melted and ready to go into the corn flakes. And then I'm just going to mix that up and just kind of combine the butter with the corn flakes, give them a little bit of moisture. But then you'll just take those corn flakes and sprinkle them on the top of your casserole until it's completely covered. Now we've got it all ready to go, and I'm going to put it in the oven at 350 and cook it for about an hour. Isn't it wonderful when a dish brings back good memories? That's what I love most about food. It really is. Let's try this. Cheesy potatoes, and you get that sour cream vibe in there. Really, really good. Now, let's say you're cooking ahead for a potluck or a holiday. You can freeze this. You can make it ahead and put it in the freezer. Just make sure that you get it out in plenty of time to thaw before the big dinner. And also be sure that you store it in an airtight container so it doesn't get freezer burn. You can dish it into another container, or you can get a 9x13 baking dish with a lid that you can just stick in the freezer. So if you are one of those people that likes to make your holiday sides and everything ahead of time, you can totally do that with this casserole. It'll be just fine. I think I'm going to eat some more. Now, if you enjoyed this recipe, be sure and subscribe to my channel. I'll have more recipes coming soon, and I'm planning on adding some more holiday recipes. So look forward to that. I'll see you soon.